where she then went to the hospital. She was missing her underwear and her shoes.
He got it so hot in there that you gotta take your clothes off.
Those 8, how many seemed to be potentially minors?
2 to 3.
Ashton Kutcher and Diddy are finally being exposed for abusing minors together after a lawsuit has been filed alleging they were involved in the rape of a 13-year-old minor in 2003. Diddy's tale of horrors continues as Ashton Kutcher is seen with him inviting 13-year-old Davy Chase to an after-party. Stay with us as we peel back the layers into the vile crimes of Diddy and his accomplices.
Coming to the after party, yeah! Good, you're doing so good.
I just want to say,
Ashton Kutcher and Diddy first met during the early 2000s when the two started bonding over shared interests at MTV award shows. Soon, Ashton was a regular at Diddy's all-white parties and was seen associating with the now-disgraced producer at public events. As it turns out, however, Diddy and Kutcher's relationship wasn't all business, and a lot of the things that the two actually did together were both illegal and horrific.
Wow, okay, I've got a lot I can't tell. So, can't tell that one either. I mean, I'm like actually cycling through them. There was one moment, so it's not really a party story, but our relationship was really bizarre. So it started over punked, because he was like, yo,
don't punk
you
me.
can't punk me. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Everybody's on the table. He's like, not me, I'm off the table. And so that started our conversation. We became fast friends, and we used to just hang out and watch football together.
Ashton Kutcher has been the head of an anti-sex trafficking organization, Thorn, since 2009. But while on the front, he was acting like someone who cares about children, the sad truth is that the reality was far from it. Old footage showing Ashton Kutcher passing sexually suggestive remarks about minors, and even saying on live TV that he is attracted to children, has come forward.
Liz McGuire, she also has an album out. She's going to be in a movie called Cheaper by the Dozen. And she's one of the girls that we're all waiting for to turn 18, along with the Olsen twins.
Hi, I'm Ashton Kutcher, and I'm from That 70 Show TV. That 70 Show too. Yeah. And the reason I'm doing this is not because I think integration is good, but because Josh told me to be able to sit on my lap and like, it feels good.
He was 14 when we started the show. I was like 19, right?
Right.
And they're like, okay, you guys are going to be making out in this scene. And I'm like thinking like, wait, this is like slightly illegal,
that's
right?
probably your first kiss ever, right?
It was my first kiss. My son bet you made with Danny about our first kiss. I mean, Ash was attractive, and I was a 14-year-old little girl, and I was extremely scared for my life.
Sure.
And he was very nice about it. He was like, oh, don't worry. So I was like, okay. Then Danny goes and goes, dude, I'll give you $10 if you French kiss her.
Allegedly, Ashton Kutcher was caught on tape being involved with minors. And after he started meeting up with Diddy, his wife Mila left him. What did Ashton do with Diddy that led to his divorce? And if Ashton really cares about children, why was he hanging out with Diddy? A man that we all know now was consistently involved in the abuse and manipulation of more than 1,000 minors.
Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher were before Ashton and his Diddy partying. You got Ashton Kutcher in love with Mila Kunis on That 70s Show. Then they break up for absolutely no reason after he starts hanging out with Diddy. Then he marries Demi Moore. He replenished himself by doing inappropriate things with their daughters. I'm glad, I'm sure you're glad, like Bruce Willis has dementia right now.
Oh.
He went right back to Mila though. He went right back to where he wanted to be.
Age appropriate.
Not even age appropriate. Then there's the Danny Masterson connection too, who Vlad, if I am correct, and Ashton Kutcher both vouch for. These are weird people.
Ashton has kept quiet all this time and stayed silent because he thought it would help him distance himself from Diddy and maybe escape prosecution. But now, with tapes showing Diddy and other participants at his parties involved with minors coming forward, it looks like Ashton's time is up. There's also the possibility that Diddy might give up names to save himself.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I just heard about that. But you heard about the reports that Ashton Kutcher, he's worried that Diddy might lie on his friends? You heard about that?
But that's what I've been saying. I said, if the federal government wanted somebody more than they want Diddy, if he has some information about some people that they would rather have other than him, he's able to get that information to them. But they gotta want it. They gotta want it. And Ashton Kutcher and him they were real tight. One time, me, him, Ashton Kutcher went to a Nets game and we met Jay-Z there. You know what I'm saying? So they were close, they was cool.
But you think Diddy would do something like that? Allow other celebrities?
Well, why would it have to be a lie? Because if he get caught in, he gonna be as truthful as possible. You understand? He's gonna give them enough information, whereas that it's gonna make him look like the choir boy. So, Ashton Kutcher, he has a right to be kind of alarmed if he was doing things with Diddy. Remember they used to have that group called the what do they call it? The Brat Pack? With Diddy, him, and a couple other guys was hanging out. Leonardo, one other guy too, I forgot the other guy's name. So, to set up the atmosphere that, yo, this guy's gonna lie on us. This guy ain't gonna tell the truth on us. But what we know is that wherever Diddy went, his tape recorders went. His camera equipment was working. He was videotaping everything. So they might have that videotape already.
Diddy knew that the possibility of him being caught and ending up in court was always high, and so that's why he recorded tapes of everyone at his parties. 250 cameras were hidden all over his house, and they recorded every second of what was happening. Now that this footage has been recovered in the Miami raid, A-list celebrities and even high-ranking politicians are all worried that they might be called to testify.
There are a lot of people in Hollywood who are probably worried about which Diddy parties they were at and what was going on. That's not to say that they were necessarily even involved in any of the things that are alleged by the U.S. Attorney's Office. But if you're at that party and it turns out that that's when he set up one of these freak-off sex parties, or that it was going on in another room and you didn't know about it, there's a good chance that you're going to be called by the U.S. Attorney's Office. And certainly if you were involved, you would get a call because they're going to want to know everything you want to know and may even want you to be a witness. I just think, we're just starting to scratch the surface of what this case, this case is going to touch and involve. And the feds have said that this remains an open investigation. There could be more charges for Diddy. There could be more charges for other people involved. And usually the way this works is once they find out other people are involved or were witnesses, they bring them in and they sort of lean on them, and it's sort of like, you're going to cooperate with us, or there's a possibility that you could face charges. So this is going to be a slow developing a case here, because we're just getting started, and I don't see how this trial begins anytime before next year.
One of the tapes has been obtained by TMZ, and allegedly, it shows adults involved in sexually intimate acts with minors. According to a producers at TMZ that has watched the tape, these minors were being coerced, and adults were pleasuring themselves to vile acts, including threesomes.
And I want to start with Tania Wallace, who claims she's been at a freak-off and said she saw children, and it was hard for her to say it.
It was very hard for her to say it, Ashley. So what she said was that she was flown out from LA to Miami by the Saudi prince, and they ended up eventually on Star Island at one of Diddy's parties. She says, among many other things, I mean, she goes into detail. This, she says, happened in 2018. She says that she walked into the house and there was a cluster of adults around what she described as little people. and they were dressed up as Japanese Barbies. I forgot the name. It's Hera something. You can help me out here. It's a certain type of Barbie. Anyway,
I know the name, but I've forgotten it. But go ahead.
So she explained that that they were just clustered around these little people, and I kept pushing her, and she eventually said, "Look, they are little people who should not be at an adult party." And I pushed her, and it was apparent what she was saying is they were minors. Now, she didn't see anything specific that was going on with them other than that adults were kind of huddled around them. But she told just a wild story about what was going on at the house, even at 7 in the morning, that this thing apparently raged all night long.
You know, it's amazing. TMZ always gets such great scoops, and this one might be one of your best as well. You got a hold of one of the freak-off tapes. Your producers have seen it. The description is, and I'll quote, "It's directed by Diddy himself." And a male sex worker really sort of walks through what happened in the experiences that he had. They didn't sound illegal, but they sure seem to comport with a lot of the other stories that have been told.
Yeah, so the this was a threesome. What you would ask me about earlier about Tania Wallace, she said there were more than 100 people at that party, including at least 4 celebrities. But this, what you're talking about now, was a threesome, and that's something that the U.S. attorney even referenced, and his lawyer in an earlier documentary we did. He was describing threesome. He says it was all consensual. So yes, what we're told is that this male sex worker was flown out to various locations over a couple of years: Miami, New York, Los Angeles, and one other. And they would meet in hotel rooms.
8 more tapes have been handed over to the FBI by a source close to Diddy, and allegedly even a grand jury has seen these videos in a federal investigation. Courtney Burgess, a man that was close to both Diddy and Jay-Z, has been subpoenaed in a federal investigation. And let's just say he had a lot to say about the evidence he was bringing in.
And those statements include descriptions of what the witness says he saw on those tapes. So I asked him about that, and he answered what he could, given the limitations imposed on him after testifying before the grand jury. Out of those 8 videos, 8 celebrities, 6 men and 2 women, how many of those 8 celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage?
2 males.
2 males. And of those 8 celebrities, how many of them were intoxicated or under the influence of?
This is going to be all speculation. I just want to preface it by he wouldn't know if they were. Right.
Sure.
Appear to
Let
be.
me rephrase
right.
it.
Based on, yes.
Understand. Out of the 8 celebrities who were recorded having intimate relations with Sean Combs, how many of them appear to be either inebriated or intoxicated or under the influence?
All of them. All of them.
Out of those 8, how many appear to be potentially victimized? How many might have been victimizing?
I think all, to be honest, all.
Were victims
They
or
victims.
were perpetrating?
Victims.
They were, all 8 were victimized.
Yeah.
Meaning this was happening to them and they were inebriated.
Right. Not knowing, I guess, how much proof it was in it, what they was doing.
And of those 8, how many seemed to be potentially minors?
2 to 3, possibly 3.
You made a lot of allegations, right? Are you expected to eventually turn those things over, or?
Well, that's what we're going to head over to do now. So we have a hearing now to determine what we're going to do in terms of what documents we'll have to turn over and what documents we do not.
So why were you in court tonight?
Just to give testimony to the grand jury. He was subpoenaed by the court, so as we all know, if you don't answer a subpoena, the marshals will come to your house as they came to his house and they will bring you here. So that's why we're here today.
I know you can't mention celebrities per se. You did mention some in the interview. So just to clarify, you can back that up with actual factual footage.
We have, it's things that we have, but we got to go to the other courthouse. So I don't know if that's any more questions, but we kind of got another hearing to go.
Are you nervous or do you feel cool?
Nah, I ain't never nervous. Only thing that's fair to me is God.
So I know you did mention what was on the flash drive before. Would you be able to kind of go over that now, or is that something that you can't discuss?
No, we're trying to go to discuss that now, what we will be able to talk to in terms of what was available and what was on those flash drives.
Okay.
But it was the book, so.
So it is Kim Porter's book, but not necessarily some of the stuff with the celebs that were mentioned besides.
It's hers. Nobody touched it.
Oh, so it is her official book.
Yes. Nobody.
And no one touched it.
Nobody altered it. Nothing.
So it's not the copy that the gentleman said that he was selling before. No.
No.
It's two different copies. That one was edited, and we have the original copy.
The real reason that Ashton Kutcher and other A-list celebrities are worried is because people have finally started speaking up. The Southern District of New York has a 97% conviction rate, meaning that if you get indicted by them, the chances of you not going to jail are pretty much zero. Diddy is being brought up on criminal charges, and anyone who doesn't cooperate now is going to end up in jail right with him.
The idea that there are sexual predators in power, not just in Hollywood, I think in all across any place there's a boss with underlings in any corporation or any industry, you have a type of sexual politics that goes on that can slide in between appropriate ethics and decorum to, inappropriate behavior to the point of harassment and sexual predatory behavior.
Well, I mean, I think people understand that, but the larger question is there a culture of complicity in Hollywood where women are afraid to speak up because they'll be blacklisted, men are afraid to speak up because either they're out of the same fear or they just think, well, this is the way the system works.
I think there are people that say, hey, this is how it works, pure and simple, and this is why I got into it, and this is why I have power. This is how it works, and you have to understand that. That does not carry the day. Complicity is also complicity. The people who know, well, look, this is how we do business, and that's what it's got to be done. I'm sorry it's like that.
We intend to name people in these lawsuits. We're not going to do it in interviews. We're not going to do it, without doing our due diligence, because obviously, these types of allegations are very hurtful to people if they're not true, and very hurtful, frankly, if they are true. But if they're true, you shouldn't have been in the room and you shouldn't have been participating. So I anticipate that we're going to start filing lawsuits, and it may not be big names at first, but we have a long list of names, and you might imagine in situations like this, that when a victim tells us that this person was in the room or this person participated, we want to do as much due diligence as humanly possible before we file that case, because in the United States, in almost every state, public filings are in fact public, and when you name somebody in a lawsuit, the press is going to pick it up, and we're aware of that. So we're going to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's, and I expect that there will be some people named in these lawsuits that will raise some eyebrows.
Houston-based lawyer Tony Busby and his firm have already filed more than 25 lawsuits against Diddy, and more than 100 victims have come forward. If people that were with Diddy are named, there's a lot of powerful people that will go to jail. Considering that there were tapes incriminating everyone, and the tapes were obtained in a raid that had probably caused the chances of anyone escaping arrest are low.
All of them were trying to land a record deal. All of them were minors. This individual was sexually abused, allegedly by Sean Combs and several other people at the studio in the promise to both his parents and to him himself of getting a record deal. Another instance, another minor, told allegedly by Sean Combs that he would make him a star, but needed a visit with him in private about it, away from his parents. Once they were in a private area, allegedly Mr. Combs made the victim perform oral sex upon him. Another incident, an individual 15 years old at the time, flown to New York City to attend a party, was drugged and then taken into a private room allegedly in the presence of Mr. Combs, where this female individual minor was raped, and then other individuals took turns raping her. Another individual, 26 at the time of the occurrence, was picked up allegedly by Mr. Combs and several other people in a black SUV from the airport, was given one drink in the SUV, and then literally woke up the next day not knowing what had happened, but with pain and damage to both her vagina and her anus, where she then went to the hospital. She was missing her underwear and her shoes. Another instance, an individual, this time not a minor, attended a group dinner, allegedly with Sean Combs in Miami. She wasn't drinking because she was pregnant, but whatever she drank at the table, apparently, at least according to her, was laced with something. She blacked out, and she woke up in the same bed, again, allegedly, with Mr. Combs in his mansion in Miami. Her vagina and her were torn and sore.
Diddy's own head of security has confirmed that Ashton Kutcher was involved with Diddy and was present at his parties, so it's only a matter of time before Ashton is called to testify too. And if he comes, who knows what he will say.
A freak? I would say he's definitely a freak.
I heard some wild stories. I heard he had
We all heard
that. Yeah, you know
but then, come on, I want to hear what you heard.
I mean, I heard that he had this dude Ashton Kutcher bent over.
Now I'm gonna tell you the truth. Him and Ashton Kutcher was really tight. We used to go to his crib. He had a penthouse on 74th and 8th Avenue in Central Park West.
Gene Deal has also spoken at length about Diddy and his connection to Ashton Kutcher, and even how other people are involved in this conspiracy. If Diddy decides to speak out about what happened, who knows how many people will go to jail?
It's all about the money. They saw what he did to Cassie. With the kicking, the punching. They saw what they did to Cassie. They know that nobody in America like that. So now, these people are represented by a brand. Whether it's something about the music, clothing, movies, they not gonna come out and speak on nothing that has anything to do with them, and they praying that they not on the tape doing crazy stuff, being oiled up in the whole 9 yards. They praying. So until the feds say, hey, yo, listen here. We got you on, hey buddy, we got you on this tape, and girl looked like she was pretty young. We're not gonna show it, but we need you to come and testify against Brother Love, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, you know, Sean Combs. That's when they're gonna start talking. And they're not gonna be talking in his favor. When the feds come to them and show them what they got on tape, because if he had 250 tapes all over, 250 cameras all over the house, somebody got caught stealing a cookie out the cookie jar. It could be your favorite pastor. It could be your favorite politician. But they didn't think they was being watched. And Brother Love was watching.
Diddy reportedly recorded footage of influential individuals in highly compromising situations. And now those people are panicking about what he might expose to save himself. Diddy understands that a conviction could mean a lifetime behind bars.
I mean, TD Jakes, he haven't even came out and said anything. And him and Diddy was real cool.
Amen. Amen. Yeah, man. And I know the people in the congregation over there is shaking in their boots because this man didn't led them probably, allegedly probably led them to damnation, because those people's hearts are gonna be broken if that man is seen on those tapes doing anything. Because people always put their faith in the pastor instead of putting their faith in God. And what they need to do is understand that he's just a man. And he has a history. It's not looking too good for him.
So you feel like celebs are worried that they might be on tape?
Oh, they know. That's why they ain't speaking up or saying nothing. Yeah, I was at a Diddy party, but I know I ain't do nothing. When you don't know somebody's taping you, when you don't know that somebody is videoing you in some kind of form of fashion, you got that alcohol, you got in you, they're a little loose, bruh. They let down all their inhibitions. The music is pumping. He said it himself. He got it so hot in there that you gotta take your clothes off. He said that himself, bruh. So a lot of them, like what he said? I think a lot of them was being swallowed. Have you ever been swallowed? They tell off on themselves all the time, man. You just gotta listen.
As the walls close in on Diddy, Ashton Kutcher, and others implicated in this horrifying scandal, the truth is finally being uncovered. Diddy may have recorded everything to protect himself, but those very tapes might now ensure justice for the victims.
Diddy always been the type of individual that want to have ups on the next person no matter what they was doing. Like, he always played artists against each other. He did it to Big, he did it to Craig Mack. You understand? I said before, he did the stuff to Ja Rule, you know what I'm saying? So had the ups on Ja Rule so he could go after Jay-Z. You understand what I'm saying? So he always played those kind of up games on people. So to have those cameras and know what he was doing, it's gonna give him the ups on everybody who came to that party. Even your favorite basketball player. Ain't no party like a Diddy party. We know who said that. He may be one of the persons who got caught up in the Diddy party.
From secret tapes to federal investigations, the trail of evidence continues to grow, threatening to expose some of the most powerful figures in Hollywood. Stay tuned as this explosive case unfolds, potentially rewriting Hollywood's history and bringing long overdue accountability to those who thought they were untouchable.